we want to give old fans, like the classic fans, kind of like, this is what I came here for, a succulent Silent Hill meal.
Silent Hill F has a lot to live up to. The series has spent 20 years as one of gaming's most beloved horror franchises, handing fans some superb psychological horror games. But now F is taking things in a more action-focused direction. But how divergent is it really? And what does this mean for OG fans like myself? To find out, I sat down with the series producer of Silent Hill, Motoi Okamoto, and NeoBards game director Elie to see if Silent Hill F actually strays that far from the series staples.
Silent Hill に関しては
For Silent Hill F, the game follows the torments and turmoils of Hinako, who is a repressed young woman. So the combat is supposed to encompass what the kind of turmoils that she encounters.
体験してほしいと思います。
This entry in the Silent Hill series is much more action-focused than previous ones. And because of this, we basically tuned our difficulty to be basically more suitable for players from both classic kind of Silent Hill titles, and then also new players that might come in that might like a little bit more action there.
今回はストーリーモードという内
For the difficulty setting, we have a difficulty setting called Story Mode. So for any players who would like to have a more classic, more authentic Silent Hill experience that they feel more familiar with, we highly recommend that players first try out the Story Mode difficulty.
But we have to remember also that at this moment, there's so much Silent Hill coming out. We just got Silent Hill Remake 2 for basically the classic fans, and as announced already, there's Silent Hill 1 Remake, and then again Silent Hill F, and then Townfall also coming out. So based on what we're seeing here is like, we want to give old fans, like the classic fans, kind of like, this is what I came here for, a succulent Silent Hill meal. But for kind of newer fans or people who want to try something a little bit different, we also have basically just a little bit off the sides, like, oh, you know what? We're trying to keep the classic Silent Hill vibes and atmosphere, but change the gameplay a little bit on this direction. We don't want everything to be the same. You know, if you have 4 Silent Hill titles that all play the same, you know, it's good to mix things up a little bit. Yeah.
F's lead, Hinako Shimizu, is shaping up to be one of the more intriguing protagonists I've encountered in a Silent Hill game. I still can't tell if she's as innocent and selfless as she appears to be, but one thing's for sure, like many Silent Hill characters, she's been through a lot of traumatic events, things that'll surely come back to haunt the narrative.
ひなこという女性がやっぱり
Hinako is an individual who's gone through a lot of repression, so a lot of things that are applying pressure to her, and this is the source of many of her internal conflicts and turmoils. So in the case of Hinako, she has to fight through this repression, and the focus that we place on the story and for Hinako is how she musters the courage to combat that repression.
自分の強さを失わないっていうその勇気と勇敢さとかそういうものに重きを置いたストーリーになってます。
There are previous Silent Hill titles with younger protagonists, like Heather from Silent Hill 3, and you'll see that there we divide kind of the tension and the horror into 2 sections, which is things that have happened to her or to people in her life. So that's a big thing, without going into too much detail. And the next thing is things that may happen, or basically the dread of things about to happen coming to fruition. So these are the 2 kind of main directions we've placed. So it's getting very similar to how Heather operates in Silent Hill 3.
Silent Hill F shifts the setting to small-town Japan in the 1960s. I asked Okamoto-san and Elie why they chose this period specifically.
やっぱり女性
So the reason why we arrived at 1960s is because this is an era that represents the female repression in Japanese society. 1960s is a time where this type of repression was prevalent, but is also one of the hallmark eras in Japanese history for women's rights movements. This is one of the reasons why we landed at this era and setting.
So previously, our writer Yukishi-san also mentioned that this era was specifically chosen because it was kind of like, it's just far enough in the past that people remember things. So you can see a telephone, you're like, oh, I know what that is, but maybe you actually haven't used like a rotary telephone yourself. But at the same time, it's modern. It's just at the border of kind of, past and mythology. So where things start getting a little bit muddy, and that's why we also chose this era to kind of a little bit more freedom to play around with, but still you find a lot of familiar things, but in maybe an unfamiliar format.
Previous Silent Hill games have given us some of the most iconic and feared foes in gaming, a tradition that Silent Hill F looks to continue, judging by my 3 hours spent with the game. I have a clear image of which creatures stick with me, but I also wanted to find out which ones are the devs' personal favorites.
僕の方では
Personally, the creature named Araabare, which is the really chunky monster that has all the floral and organic matter, the really giant one. That one is my personal favorite.
For me, like my personal favorite is, like you said, the mannequin that you first encounter. And that was one of our early creature designs. And I have to again thank Kara-san and then our art team over at NeoBards, because there's so many interesting and kind of, they feel very Japanese, culturally relevant, but they have that kind of classic Silent Hill kind of vibe and tone. You see them a lot around the towns. We spent a lot of time kind of perfecting that one. And I'm a really big fan. And I hope we get merchandise someday. Maybe, please.
For all the talk of Silent Hill F deviating from the series' long-established roots, to me it seems like F will deliver a more accessible experience for newcomers, hopefully without alienating longtime fans too much. But that does beg the question, were there any innovations the team wanted to include in this game that they couldn't? Could the next Silent Hill game be even more of a departure from what we've come to expect?
そうですね。
Silent Hill is a type of series that we've been partnering with many different groups for. Like for example, with Silent Hill 2 remake, we partnered with Bloober Team for Silent Hill F with NeoBards, and also for Silent Hill Townfall, we've cooperated with Screenburn, as they are now called. So while there are possibilities that some ideas that did not come into fruition for Silent Hill F, there is a possibility that those could manifest in the future. But this is something that's entirely hypothetical, and it's probably future titles will probably each carry their own flavor depending on who we will be working with in the future.
Thank you. It's been an absolute honor talking to you guys, and I can't wait to play more. So,
Thank you.
Silent Hill F launches in just under a month, on September 25th. For more previews on the latest games, as well as in-depth developer interviews, reviews, and more, subscribe to PC Gamer.